Last time on Square Roots, Tara makes seafood soup. Locke walks in on a BDSM scene, and Sabin suplexes a train. Also,
Gal, your friend! Friend!
And welcome to Square Roots, the classic RPG podcast. My name is Jim Banks. I am joined by Matthew Van Zandt.
Uh-oh.
no, maybe not.
What happened?
I don't know. I think he's dead.
Maybe he chased his minions into another room or something.
Oh.
Last I heard of him, he was something
Is he
like
on the video feed?
No.
No.
Well, we can assume he'll come back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we're joined by Matthew. He's here somewhere. Joined by John Zozo Brandon.
It is not 6:40 p.m.
It took me a minute to get that reference. And Vanessa.
I'm Vanessa.
And this is a podcast where we play and talk about classic RPGs, like Final Fantasy VI, the one we're playing right now.
That's the classicist.
It is. When people think of classic RPGs, they think of Final Fantasy VI. Or 7.
It is, I mean, it's pretty good.
Yeah. It is.
It's a good game.
Quite fun. I am enjoying it. A lot.
Let's see. This episode we're playing from when the party gets reunited up to their arrival in Vector. Is that the name of the city?
I didn't actually get to the city. I just saved as soon as I landed.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Touch
I
foot
believe
on
it's
the
called
continent
Vector.
and done.
Gotcha. Okay, so we're playing until you get the ship and get to the new continent.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We play
But
classic RPGs one chunk. Oh, we did say that. Yeah, I remember.
we did say that. Yeah.
Sorry.
I didn't say one chunker at a time, but
You know what? If they don't know by now, they're never going to get the premise.
It's true.
Unless you're a new listener, welcome.
all right. So before we get into the game proper, let's level up.
Woohoo!
Oh,
You guys want
boy.
to do that? Who wants to kick us off this week?
Me.
Vanessa, kick us off.
I love the theater loves me. The lights, the makeup, the stage manager, the theater is the place to be. I love the curtain when it rises on the show, and so to the theater is where I like to go. I saw 2 theatrical performances this weekend. First, I saw The Boys in the Band. The Boys in the Band got your Jim Parsons, it got your Matt Bomer, it got your Zachary Quinto, it got your Andrew Rannells, it got your Robin DeJesus, who you probably remember from In the Heights, and it got others. It's a show about gay men, and it stars gay men. It's a gay explosion. A gay station for your gay eyes. It was great. I do not watch The Big Bang Theory, and so was not really that familiar with Jim Parsons, except from like memes where he say bazungi and things. But he was a very strong actor. He really was like the lead of the show and carried it very well. Zachary Quinto was great, very deep in character, I would say, almost unrecognizable. Matt Bomer at one point took his shirt off, and then one thing I didn't understand about the show is why he put his clothes back on, because and when I say shirt, I mean shirt, pants, and underwear, and was very good, and then he put it back on and was not as good. I don't know. But also a strong performance from him as far as his emotional and mental range as well.
Did you see his wiener?
No, he turned his back. But I saw that Bomer bum.
No.
And I'm sure that's like the last thing he wants people to talk about, having seen this show where he makes himself emotionally vulnerable. But you know
Is his
what?
pain?
He works very hard on his body, and it would be an affront not to appreciate it.
I bet
So,
you'd
good
like
job.
to work very hard on his body.
Maybe I would, Matt. You know what? Maybe I would. Then, the very same day, that was a matinee, hopped in the car and
Matt in A.
drove myself
Oh.
2.5 hours upstate to Vassar College, where I saw The Waves, starring, among other people, Alice Ripley and my number one celebrity crush, Broadway and TV and probably movies, I don't know, I'm not IMDb, Zone Raul Esparza.
Ooh, I love that guy.
Me
He's great
too.
as the ADA in SVU.
He was great as Dr. Chilton on Hannibal.
Oh, he was good as Chilton.
It was a very interesting production. One thing, it was a very, very small venue. It was a 145-seat theater, so I was about 10 feet away from the stage, and to be able to see such amazing performers and singers in such an intimate venue was really, really special. It was an interpretation of the Virginia Woolf novel, The Waves, and really utilized just a lot of her language and made it into sort of an operatic song. Not really like a, I'm going to play this song on my iPod kind of song, but just a piano and singing and beautiful, beautiful language. It was great. If you can make it upstate, probably do it. I don't know how long it's playing. Not very long. So hop in your car. By the time this episode comes out, you might only have one more weekend to get on up there. Hang on, I'm rifling through the thing here. I think it goes through... I have no idea.
Where should you...
I really like Raul Esparza because you can always tell like the upper tier TV actors because they come on screen and they actually have presence.
Yes,
Like
exactly.
people in network shows don't have a lot of presence, they just say lines and stuff, but he's got like a real gravity to like whenever he's on screen, and it's he's just a really good actor.
He is a really good actor. He is my favorite singer. I was talking to someone who I went up there with and described him as being my personal dog whistle. He has a voice that just makes me like physically respond in a way that other singers don't.
Oh.
No, that's not what I meant. Stop it.
Wait.
You stop it right now. I already got lusty over Matt Bomer.
That's not what I
I'm
meant.
not going to besmirch my poor Raoul. He's a
never
very
mind.
handsome man. Check him out. Anyway.
Where do you recommend staying when you're in upstate New York?
Well, you know, as a public figure, a podcast host, I'm really hesitant to call out certain businesses because, you know, my experience might not be universal. But if you don't like having extra companions in your hotel room, and by extra companions I mean cockroaches, probably avoid the Ramada at West Point. It was not great. It was probably the dirtiest hotel room I have ever stayed in. It was, you know what? I'm not going to say what else it was. The clientele was probably not the most family-friendly group. And it was a very large hotel room, which I guess is why they have trouble cleaning it. So don't stay there. Yep. And, however, do go to the theater. If you can't get to New York City or upstate New York, and many, many people can't because it's just one locale in the whole wide world, get on your Google and find a local theater production. Maybe you think you don't like theater, but I think the people who don't like theater just haven't been to enough. They need to find what works for them. Some people don't like musicals. Some people don't like straight plays. Some people don't like plays where people take their clothes off. They think it's very offensive. Some people like it very much. Go to the theater. Jim, how did you level up?
Let's see. I had a pretty low-key week, but I have been spending a lot of time revisiting the Uncharted series.
Ooh, me too.
Um,
I'm winning.
Vanessa, Vanessa and I had some disagreements earlier this week because I am not a huge fan of Uncharted 3. Or I should say that I wasn't, so I actually went back and replayed it, and it's much better than I originally remembered.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one I
think
haven't
the villains
played.
are kind of silly, but the plot is really good, and it's a really good game.
Well,
Yeah, I think that. I'm sorry, John,
No, it's okay.
but I'm just gonna keep talking and not
Do
give you a
it.
chance.
Do it.
All right, here I go.
Do it.
I think that the villains definitely aren't as compelling as Harry was, because you're given a personal relationship with Harry, and they try to do that with the villains in this game, but it doesn't really work. But I think that the pacing is much better than 2 as far as how much puzzle versus platformer versus action they give you. Matt, how did you level up?
I've been doing this a lot lately, but I leveled up my comic book reading skills by purchasing and reading the Adventure Zone Here There Be Gerblins comic graphic novel.
What's the Adventure Zone?
It's a podcast by famous people.
One of those podcasts that people actually listen to.
And it's a graphic novel representation of their first arc. The Adventure Zone is a D&D Let's Play podcast, and it's delightful. And I read it all in like one sitting, and it was a lot of fun, and I already started reading it again because it's a lot of fun. And that is how I leveled up. John, how did you level up?
Ooh, hello.
Hi.
My name is John Brandon, and I leveled up by purchasing a game for 15 Canadian dollars minus 10%, so like $13 and something. It's a game called No Man's Sky. I bought it used for the PlayStation 4.
I literally just yawned because of the way you're talking.
Okay, I'll stop. Yeah, I bought No Man's Sky because they're releasing a huge new update, and I've never played it. And right now, if you can find it used, it's really cheap, and I think they're going to jack up the price because a whole new content patch that basically makes the game its own sequel for free is coming out. And yeah, I've probably played it for 45 minutes. It's a bit like Minecraft. You start out in a broken ship, and you have to fix your ship, and you have to like break rocks and plants and stuff to gather elements to fix your ship. And I started on this planet where there's these robots that just keep attacking me and killing me, and I can't actually get any work done.
Oh no.
And this design seems terrible. And I remember hearing when the game came out, this is because sometimes you can spawn on enemies with high sentinel attack rates, where like the sentinel robots across the galaxy will just randomly kill you all the time, and you might want to just restart if that happens. But that is terrible game design.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't walk around for more than a minute with one of these dumb robots just try to kill me, and you don't have really weapons or anything to attack it back. And I've also been playing more Octopath Traveler. And,
Ooh.
I only have time to basically play it on the bus, so I don't get to play a ton of it, but it is very charming, and I quite like it. I'm trying to get to the exotic dancer quest because hers sounds really interesting. To sort of flip the RPG trope of brothels and play as one of the women who works there and find out more about what her deal is. Sounds really cool, actually.
I really want to play Octopath Traveler. I really want to buy it, but I just haven't been able to pull the trigger on it yet.
It's pretty expensive for a full price
Yeah.
game. It doesn't look like a full price game, but it is a full price game. But there's a lot of content in there.
Yeah, is it like a full price? Is it worth... I mean, is the experience of the game worth the $60?
I mean, I paid $100 Canadian for Phantasy Star 4 back in 1995, and I'd say this game is probably better. So, I don't know. It's your money. I don't think it's going to get cheaper anytime soon. Like, Amazon is sold out of it, and digital copies on Nintendo services tend to stay full price for like a year or two. So,
Yikes.
I don't know. It's up to you. Maybe try to find a used copy in a little while. Jim, how about you restart your level up because yours died.
I have been revisiting the Uncharted series. So this was kind of an Uncharted week for me. Not only did I play Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 3, They also had that fan film come out during the week where Nathan Fillion actually played Nathan Drake.
Yeah, I saw that
And-
too.
Yeah, and like a 15-minute like Uncharted fan film, which was really good. People have been fan casting him as Nathan Drake for a long time. So it was cool to see him in the role, and I did a little flippity flop on Uncharted 3. I thought it was kind of a bad game. Like it didn't feel like quite as immersive as Uncharted 2, but I went back and played it, and my mind has been changed. I actually really enjoyed it. So all the Uncharted games are good. I don't feel quite as strongly about the jet ski sequence in the first Uncharted. Some people say that it just ruins the entire game.
It ruins the entire game.
It's not good.
It's not a great sequence, but it's still a good game.
Should we mention how we got scolded or not?
No.
Let's let Vanessa choose
Yeah,
that one.
Yeah.
It's okay with me if you mention it. I think it's good if you maybe step on not a landmine, but like a water balloon to talk about it
Okay.
and discuss what you learned.
Okay. Jim and I were riffing on the well, Vanessa started this joke, but I will not blame her for that because Vanessa can make jokes about that. We were making jokes about the title of Uncharted, and someone noticed, hey, you're only making fun of the title of one of the games, and it's the one with women in it, and we're making very gendered jokes about it, as we did on the podcast, and someone took offense, and I understand why, so we won't be doing that
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah. I totally
Uncharted
understood
with the
his
ladies.
objections.
Uncharted, women's with a Z.
We won't be doing that anymore.
Uncharted, the one
people-
without the dudes. So why would you even care? Am I right, guys? Am I right?
You know what? Everyone learns at their own pace, and for some people, it takes them a little bit longer to learn than others. We want to support people in their development. For example, James Gunn.
James Gunn? What?
I'm glad that he's
Jim,
getting
put
better,
that gun down.
but
Every time we start to run along in these episodes, I pull my gun out
Yeah.
and flash it in front of the camera.
I guess I shouldn't go down the rabbit hole of talking about James Gunn and my opinions about that.
And Joshton's really worried about Jim's guns too. And
I actually,
He is.
I have a very important, I think, opinion about James Gunn that I need to get out, and it's.
Oh, you really don't?
Oh, I thought you said Jim's guns.
No.
So did I.
Oh.
My opinion on James Gunn is oof, and I don't know.
That's kind of where I'm at too.
I have enjoyed his work in the past, and I probably will in the future. I don't begrudge the decision that was made, and I think this is a great opportunity to introduce more female or minority directors into the Marvel Universe.
That's a good point.
Mhm.
Jim, put your gun down. Okay, we'll get on with the quest log. Okay, Jesus Christ.
All right.
Yeah, have we all leveled up? Are we good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Final Fantasy VI.
That's the game that we're playing.
Mm-hmm. Let's start with the fact that our party's all together now for the first time in the game.
Reunion. Woohoo.
Everyone is together, and we've decided that we are going to go find the Esper, but before we can do that, Kefka decides to siege Narshe. Narshe?
Sure.
Narshe.
Yeah.
Narsh.
Uh-huh.
He decides to seize the mining town.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so we have to do one of these little minigame things like we did at the beginning when Locke was protecting Terra.
Mm-hmm.
Only we have to split our characters into 3 separate parties and defend Bannon from Kefka's siege. So my first question in this episode is, who were your guys' parties?
I think I hit the random button.
I put Locke and Celeste into one party because I was like, oh, those two are, pretty powerful. They can go together. And then I put a party with Cyan, Terra, and Gao. And then I put a party with the brothers, Edgar and Sabin.
Oh.
Oh,
Unfortunately-
very sentimental.
Locke and Celeste were the weakest by far, and I put them into one position where they got the most fights. So
Oh dear.
I should have put Gal with them because Sabin or because Terra and Cyan could have easily handled themselves with and Gao. They really needed Gao's help because she can heal, but I was trying to get him to steal all the time, and so there's basically only one person doing damage or healing, and yeah. It's not worth it. Don't steal in that fight. There's nothing really good there anyways. So, yeah, I don't know. I did okay, but that event made me realize who the best characters were, at least for my style of play. And that led to me choosing, my next party was Celeste, Locke, and Gao, and Sabin, because that's just a power party that can level everything. What about you, Vanessa?
I like to break up my area of effect people. So at this point, that was Sabin with his special blitz moves and Edgar with his tools. Each went into their own party. And then I paired them with sort of the weaker characters. And then I think I had Terra leading up the last party. I can't remember exactly who she went with. I think she was with Locke because I thought she would like that. And I might have put Celeste with them as well, so we could have sort of a love triangle party and see what happens.
Ooh. Were the women too busy fighting over their man to get any work done? I've learned nothing.
Let's see, I had Edgar and Cyan in one party, which was a mistake because they were by far the weakest. I had Terra, Locke, and hold on, sorry. I had Sabin and Cyan in one party, and they were the weakest ones. Because they couldn't
doesn't make any sense.
You're bonkers.
Yeah, you're bonkers.
They couldn't really heal themselves very well.
Well, yeah, but didn't you buy tons of high potions at the last store?
No, I was very low on potions.
Oh, no.
And in the next one, I had Terra, Locke, and Gao. And then in the other one, I had Edgar and Celeste, I think. And it was good. Like, all the parties except for Sabin and Cyan were very good, and it was nice to realize the absolute destructive power of Gao if you use him correctly. He's way overpowered.
He's amazing.
Yeah.
I didn't figure, like, the last time I played this, which really happened and is a real thing, I never really used Gao, and now just, like, having fun with Templar and Stray Cat is fantastic.
Yeah, he's really good. So I had a couple issues where, like, because your parties can be killed in this section, but you just end up at the top of the map with 1 health for all of your characters, so you can just heal them and go back to the field. But that only happened to me once, and once I got control of my character to stop getting in battles constantly, I could choose my strongest party and then go. There's like 2 bosses at the end of this. There's the Hell Rider and Kefka, and I got both of them in first try.
Yeah, I went through that Hell Rider with my Terra, Gao, Cyan party, and that guy just got wrecked. Like, I think maybe 1 or 2 turns at most.
Yeah.
Kefka, this is your first battle with sexy full sprite Kefka. And he's pretty rough. Like, he definitely got, like, I did have to be resurrecting people and stuff. He was hitting pretty hard.
Defeated him in 1 round.
Yeah, I think I did as well.
I think because, like, if you have Gao's his Stray Cat, his Cat Scratch did 1100 damage. Well, I guess it was 2 turns, because his did 1100 damage per turn, and then I had Locke. He had that glove that lets him attack twice.
Nice.
So he was doing like 500 a turn, and then the other characters the other character was Terra, and she was doing really well. So yeah, just a couple turns and he was done.
I just forgot to heal before engaging those last 2 enemies. That was my problem.
I still have not found a Genji glove, and I'm really annoyed about it.
Oh man, once you get
It's really awesome. Like I have it on Locke, and I also have his thief knife and there's another item that'll up his steal rate. And so he attacks twice and steals once every turn.
oh, nice.
And then I also have his counterattack relic. And so he can attack, and he attacks twice on his counterattack if you have the glove. So he attacks like 4 times every turn if he gets attacked.
Nice.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
And you can like get another ability that does ×4 attacks, and so once you start combining that stuff together, it gets insane.
Yeah, he's attacking constantly in my battles. It's pretty great.
Yeah, I like Final Fantasy games you can break like this. I find it really fun.
Mm-hmm.
So we fight Kefka. He's only got a few thousand HP, so it's not a super tough battle. But he runs away, and the party goes to find the Esper, and everything goes great. Terra welcomes the Esper with open arms, and it's a great reunion. We find a lot about it, and the party really bonds.
Mm-hmm.
No,
That's the end of the episode.
Yeah, there was that little bit where Terra bursts into flame and flies away.
she
You know,
turns
that's-
into Gem in the holograms.
Yeah.
She goes Super Saiyan and flies away.
Yeah, she freaks the fuck out and is like, bye.
And she does that crazy sound effect over and over.
Mm-hmm.
Like a Vanessa watching a nude man on stage, she shoots into the air and flies away. in
Yeah,
a
happily there was
rage.
a little balcony, so I just landed up there and then sort of rolled around on the floor. And then the usher came and collected me and returned me to my seat.
I think that's what would happen if I went to go see like a wrestling event.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would like burst into feathers like the chicken lady from Kids in the Hall when she gets too excited.
Yeah.
Oh, that was such a great. That I think that and the flying pig were my favorite Kids in the Hall sketches.
Didn't she lay
Yeah.
eggs when she got excited?
Sometimes, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
she was real horny.
Chicken lady loves life.
So Terra explodes into a pile of feathers and flies off.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that she flew around the world. She flew
Yeah.
to the edge of the map and then back on the other side. She went like across the planet.
I'm glad the mini map was there so you could really see where she was going. It was
Yeah.
like it's like Jeffy running around in a Family Circus cartoon. Except Jeffy didn't explode houses.
No.
Yeah, so everybody freaks out. We go back to his name is Alvis? The guy in Narsh?
Arvis. Arvid, like
We go
Arvid
back to
from Head of the Class.
we go back to Arvis's house, and everybody resolves to go find Terra wherever she is, because we need her to defeat the Empire. She's the key to the Magicite, blah blah blah.
She's our great last hope.
Yeah, she's the last hope. So we get to form our first actual party.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm a big fan of RPGs that let you have 4 characters in your party.
Mm-hmm.
That's my fave.
Or 5.
So-
I like 5.
That's
that's
many.
a lot though.
I think 5 is the perfect.
Oh, TMI.
Now, from a game design perspective, I really respect they gave you a scenario where you had to use every character before you choose a party, and I think that is brilliant because you're like, oh, this guy's really cool, or I don't like this guy, or I need to work on this guy, so you really get a sense of who they all are before you choose, which not a lot of games do.
It's almost necessary in this game though, because every character has a gimmick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be familiar with everybody's gimmick to know like the right like combinations.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, I thought, okay, I got a little confused here. It said like Locke it didn't say Locke had to be in the party, but I thought it was Locke's quest, so I assumed he had to be in the party. Do you have to choose Locke?
You do not.
Oh, Wow.
Oh, interesting. Because narratively, he's very much like, I'm going to go. I'm going. It's me, Locke. I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I did, but you don't have to.
Oh, interesting.
Oh.
Yeah.
Matthew, did you put Locke in your party?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Because there's definitely some Locke-focused content that happens next.
Mm-hmm.
There is.
I
So
put
we're told that we
Locke, I
need-
put Celeste.
Me too. Me too.
Think I put Sabin
Ooh.
and
too.
Edgar.
Ah.
Yeah,
I had
use
almost the same
Sabin
party,
and
except
Edgar
with
for,
Gao.
I use Sabin and Edgar constantly. They're the best.
I did not use Sabin. I used Edgar and Locke and Celeste and Gao.
Interesting.
Gal
That's
friend,
still a good party. Friend. Now, I wasn't sure if this was the part of the game where you can get Mog. So I spent like half an hour just futzing around that Moogle cave in Narche.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Oh yeah, so did I.
No Mog. I was really
That-
bummed.
That's not how you get them.
Now, I also I got weapons for everybody, and I ended up giving like these Morning Star things to Locke and Celeste, even though Celeste can no longer use her runic. I didn't care, because who cares? And they're much better with like Genji gloves and these Morning Star things they can use from the back row. So I was happy.
So we're told that we need to go to Figaro, to the castle, to use the castle can move underground. So we're told we need to use the castle to get across the mountain range into the other part of the continent.
That's real boring.
Very good, John.
I got it.
You've been sitting on that one all night, haven't you?
Yeah, I have.
Yay. Yay.
So we get to Figaro. You can actually buy some really cool stuff for Edgar in Figaro. If you go back to the tool vendor, he has 2 very good tools for him. And if you have Edgar leading your party and you talk to him, he'll give you a 50% discount.
Oh, I didn't
on
get
these
that.
items.
Oh.
Yeah. But I do like their dialogue exchange here where you go to buy stuff from him and he's like, "Oh, I can't take money from the king." And he's like, "Don't you have a family? Shut your mouth and let me pay you."
I did get the drill, and I like that he puts on this like blacksmith hat when using it. It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
And if he does his critical attack with it, he puts on a Jason mask.
Really? I thought that was
Yep.
the chainsaw.
Oh, I lied. Just kidding.
The chainsaw's later.
Cut that out. Bleep that out. Cut it out.
Don't tell Matthew
And then
what
you
to
also
do.
get his flash weapon, which is awesome because it does really good damage to every enemy. Which looks like a big camera kind of when he uses it. I don't understand what it is,
I never
but it does.
used it. I bought it, but I didn't use it.
Yeah, me neither.
It's really good.
Oh,
Does
I
it-
Yeah,
didn't
it
know.
does. It does. I think with the level I'm at now, he does like 275 damage on every character on screen.
Oh, gosh.
Every enemy on screen. Yeah.
Does it have any status effects tied to it?
No, but it is magic damage, I believe.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to flash you.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good at clearing a lot of the enemies out, especially when you're in this newer area and there's constantly like 4 or 5 enemies on the screen at once.
I got a little confused when you went to Figaro because everyone's saying like, "Oh, relax a while," and I tried like sleeping and nothing changed, and people wouldn't let me like go to the towers on the sides of the castle. So eventually, I figured out that you have to go to the engine room, and that's how you get to the
Yeah.
next plot point. But that took me like 20 minutes of walking around.
So for those of you who had Edgar and Sabin in your party, what happens when you get to Figaro? Because I didn't have Sabin, and all I got was this little line of dialogue from Edgar that says, "If only Sabin were here."
Mm-hmm.
He just walks. I didn't have Edgar. I just had Sabin. He just wanted to walk around.
Yeah, the party kind of splits up, and Sabin goes and explores. I had both of them. So, first of all, people are like super stoked to see Sabin. They're like, heckin' yeah, it's Sabin's back. Yay, our prince. And then he and Edgar have a moment after Sabin does his walking around where they sort of talk about their destinies and what happens to them. And it's revealed that they, after their parents died, neither of them really wanted to be king. And so Edgar proposes that they flip a coin, and whoever wins gets to decide if they'll be king or if they'll do something else. And then whoever loses has to either be king or not be king, depending on the first party's decision.
Interesting.
So then they're up on top of a tower, and Edgar flips his little coin into the air, and you see it spinning, and then that's the end of the scene. It fades away.
That's a bit like how some BioWare games work, where you only get certain scenes if certain characters are in your party.
Yeah, and I think there are actually several moments like that in this
Yeah,
game.
I got a couple in this playthrough, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll talk about them when we get there.
Yeah.
One's coming right up.
Oh.
Let's see. So we convince the castle to move us to the other part of the continent, and we do.
Mm-hmm.
And then our next, I can never remember the name of this next town. It's Kolingen.
Mm-hmm.
Kolingen. Kolingen.
That's a stupid name for a town.
which is the first town in the game so far that doesn't have anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
It's just a nice
there's
little town.
something real wrong with it. There's something way wrong with this town.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
There is. I'm not making that up.
Oh, okay. Well, right now it doesn't seem like there's a lot wrong with this town.
Did you have Locke? You had Locke in your party.
I forgot. Oh yeah, there's a lot wrong with this. So yeah, if you have Locke in your party, you can enter a house in the northern part of the village, and you learn about I guess you get lied to because well, you learn about Locke's past and that he was treasure hunting with his fiance, I guess, named Rachel.
Yeah.
And he was on a bridge that was collapsing, and she pushed him out of the way, and she fell down this chasm, and he jumped in after her. And it turns out that she came back with amnesia and forgot about him.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a weird cut in this flashback because it cut from, you know, him learning that she had amnesia to her kicking him out of the house because being there upset her parents.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What's that about? How old is she?
Unmarried women in I guess this place don't leave the house. I don't know.
Did he also live with her parents?
And also, this is Final Fantasy, and it's a flashback, so she's probably like 14.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I think, where's this next building at? Is it on like the east side of
It's like
the
in the
town?
middle.
It's like in the middle. Okay. So you go into this other part of town.
But hold
this
on.
is the part with the funky music.
Before
right?
that, he says that she died in an attack by the Empire right afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And
right
he
after
felt-
he
Oh,
left.
right.
And he felt bad for not being there, and this is all a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that whole story about her having amnesia. Oh, well, she may have had amnesia. Did she actually have amnesia?
I think so.
Okay. So Rachel may or may not have had amnesia, I guess, but she definitely didn't get killed by the Empire
She got
because
wounded, maybe.
yeah, wounded, I guess, but like we find her body in the care of a psychotic man in somebody's basement, and he's given her some kind of herbal concoction to keep her in stasis and make sure she doesn't age,
Mm-hmm.
which is weird,
Well,
considering she was probably 14.
Did it say all this in the game? Because
Yeah.
all I got was like,
It did.
oh, there's a Cinderella girl here, or like a Sleeping Beauty girl here, and Locke's obsessed with her, I guess, which is weird.
Yeah.
No, that guy was like, ooh, I gave her the herbs
Yeah.
he wanted.
He was like horny about it. He's like, yeah.
He was horny
you
about
can-
it.
You know, she's going to be the same way forever, and no matter what you do, she's never going to wake up.
You'll keep getting older, she'll keep staying the same age.
She's
Good God.
this is the exact scenario as was noted on my Twitch stream by one of our listeners, I think Matt Jorgensen. This is a Batman and Robin. This is the exact plot from Mr. Freeze and his wife. I think that's from the
That's-
comics too.
Kind of true.
Batman
That-
and Robin Mr. Freeze was created, the Mr. Freeze wife thing was created for the animated series.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the character showed up, I think, early on in Batman and was like a throwaway, and Bruce Timm made him super cool and important and popular.
Huh. That's really cool.
Kind of like Harley
And-
Quinn.
Yeah. I like Harley Quinn.
I don't.
So he's kept her alive in this basement surrounded by flowers, and she's like in stasis, I guess, with the special potion that Pervo Man made. And like I only call it that because he's like creepy laughing like Kefka the whole time.
He's super creeper.
He also seems really like he doesn't want Locke to come down there. He's like, "Oh, what are you doing here, Locke? No reason to be here. I got everything under control."
Oh, this is not.
You know-
I don't like this conversation.
So
So
I
we
assume
stabbed
that
this guy,
Locke.
right?
I assume that Locke put all those flowers there, but what are you saying? Are you suggesting that maybe this guy did?
You know, this guy doesn't seem like he cares what's going on as long as she remains unconscious.
Oh,
I mean, it can't smell nice down there, though.
So I was down there with Celeste, and Celeste, when we walk back upstairs, Celeste like comes back down, and she's like, "This is real weird."
Yeah.
Like in mine, all she said was Locke,
Yeah, that's what she
and
said.
then it trailed off, and then she's.
I'm
left.
I'm putting words into her mouth. Like, yikes.
I think she was more like, I thought this guy was available, but this is some baggage.
Mhm. And she brings this up later too. She does not forget about seeing creepy girlfriend.
Yeah, she's like, what the fuck?
Now I wonder, do you think the game is sophisticated enough that if she did see or did not see creepy girlfriend and was not in that party before, would she not mention it at the opera house later?
I don't know. It would be weird if she did.
Yeah, that's true. Well, maybe someone told her about it.
That's true.
Yeah.
But all this is
Okay,
skippable too. Like, you don't have to do any of this stuff.
Yeah, you don't have to go into the house.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have to do anything in Kolingen,
I
actually.
mean, really, guys,
Yeah.
you don't have to do anything in this game at all. You can just turn it the fuck off.
Whoa.
You don't even have to play it.
You really don't. In fact, you don't even have to get out of your bed if you don't want to.
Oh, some of us do.
What, are the
So
police going to come and
we-
drag you out of it?
Well, people got responsibilities.
Oh, fuck. Jim's got his gun out again. Come on, Jim.
Oh no. Okay, sorry, Jim.
That's code name for my wiener.
Oh. I thought your wiener was codenamed Matt Boner.
That's what you'll have after seeing the boys in the band.
Jim, the code name for that is Jim's pea shooter.
Aw.
Little shooter.
Aw.
Aw, little shooter.
So
Shooter.
after this,
Talk about Shooter
I
McGavin now? Is that what's going on? Shooter McGavin?
I saw there was
Shooter
like a
McGavin.
dot on the map north of there, so I like spent 5 minutes walking north, and it's just a guy who's like, I want to build a coliseum one day.
I did the same thing.
And you're like, okay, bye.
Cool. Thanks for the walk.
Yeah, good story.
Well, I mean, if you're playing this game back in 1992 or whatever, and you've got your little hand-drawn map of the continent that you're making, and you're marking down areas for future reference.
Ah, contraire. I believe the game came with a map of the world.
Okay,
It-
then
it
you would
came
be
with
marking it down on the
s-
map of the world.
A spoilery map of the world for
Yeah,
reasons
Really?
we
let's
won't
not
get into.
that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I hate it when games do that. I hate it.
No.
Yeah.
I hate it when a game you like put it in to play and it gives you like a mashup of what's gonna happen in the game.
Like
DVDs
Parasite
do
Eve?
this too. Yeah.
The
Have you
Persona
noticed like
games are
some
bad about that.
DVDs will do this like on the menu?
DVDs?
And be like, DVDs or Blu-ray discs will do it with the menu. You like put it in, and then behind your options, they'll play like moments from the movie. And if you haven't seen the movie before, you're like, well, shit.
Yeah. Yikes.
I don't know what.
Hmm.
I don't even know how to operate something like that anymore. I was very confused if somebody put one in front of me.
That part of your brain has withered and died.
Oh, I should have leveled up by bringing up that Death of Superman movie I watched because it was pretty good. Oh well.
Oh,
Later, next week.
yeah. Or Level Up podcast.
Yeah. Oh, Yeah.
All right, so
Okay,
after
so-
you go to the disappointing not Coliseum house, what happens?
You need to go south to Jador. And Jador is a real snooty little
All right,
town.
I'm just gonna put my hand up in the air here and say this whole part of this game was really annoying and draggy because it was just like go walk around to different towns, go do that.
Yeah, and I got really upset with the encounter rate. It seemed to increase pretty steadily throughout this chunker to the point where I felt like I was getting into battles, especially once we get to Zozo.
Yeah,
Zozo has
terrible.
a crazy
Fucking
one.
constantly. Holy shit. But yeah, we get to Jador and everybody here is pretty snooty. There's not a lot going on here right now.
Nope.
But we do find out from some people that that there's reports of like a girl in Zozo that destroyed this dude's house in Jador. This guy's got like a burnout house, and he said some lady destroyed it.
Yeah.
So we need to go north to Zozo.
There's
It took me a long time to find Zozo.
There's one little girl who you can talk to who says something like, "I saw a girl wrapped in fire, but she had kind eyes. I found that touching."
Yeah, and her mom was like, she came face to face with my daughter. She didn't do anything. She seemed okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's also an auction house, but you can't do anything there.
Nope.
Yeah, you can't do much in this area right now.
No.
But in Zozo, by the way, did you guys have trouble finding Zozo? I did.
No.
No,
Yes. Yeah. I had.
I went all the way south to the Opera House.
Oh, yeah.
And then realized I had
closed.
gone in the opposite direction.
I also had a real
So-
problem that will make more sense when we get there. Where once I got to Zozo, I had fucking no idea what I was supposed to be doing. I spent so much time.
Oh
just
yeah. Game does not explain it to you.
hate wandering around Zozo.
So yeah, we get to Zozo, and we're told that Zozo is full of like scumbags and thieves and murderers, and that turns out to be exactly true because Zozo is a town where you get into battles constantly.
In
But it's
town.
very classist because the people in Jador say the middle class and upper class people are left in this town, but all the low class people, we made them move to Zozo.
How does
That
your
is very true,
economy
like, they-
function then, town? That's not how it works.
Yeah, then everybody's the same class if you get rid of the poor people.
Yeah,
they
but
still
when
kept
it's
the
all
middle class. So I guess they gave the middle class people the labor jobs, but
Yeah.
just paid them more or something.
Well, I mean, you could have
But you
just done
can't
that
have a
with your
middle
lower class
without a
people.
bottom. You can't have
That's
a middle
true.
without
Now the
a
middle class
bottom.
people are the bottom.
That's right. Can't have a middle without a bottom.
But yeah, I mean, Zozo sucks, man. Like, there are a couple pretty tough enemies in here. The big Gigas guy, the Hill Gigas or Earth
yeah,
Gigas or
he
whatever he
big.
is.
John probably
He's a
thought he was
big-
handsome.
He's a big dude, and he can do a ton of damage to your party
Yeah, and doesn't he always
with his like earthquake
Doesn't he,
attack.
when he dies, he always does an attack before he fades?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's a big earthquake
So
one that can
fucking
like
annoying.
party wipe you if you're not healed up.
John is always a big fan of these things when we run across them in these games.
The Hill Giant?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, I like just doing suplexes on it over and over and over again because it was funny.
I'll bet you do.
Now, one of the random encounters here is a guy with like a big bag of goodies. And
I did not run into that guy.
He's got like got like a Santa Claus.
Oh,
sack.
that guy. Yes, the big guy.
And I stole dragoon boots from him, which is
So did I, and I have yet to use them because. So what the dragoon boots do is they turn your fight command into the jump command, but every time I have a character jump, they're always still in the air by the time the battle's
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
I just gave it to Celeste for funsies.
It's not super helpful.
Is the jump attack better?
I mean, it's more
I mean,
powerful,
it's-
but not by like thousands.
I think it's like
okay.
2 times maybe.
Maybe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not that much.
It's fun though. You get to
Yeah,
send them
exactly.
flying into the air and then they're off screen for a turn and then eventually come back down like shoop.
And they can't take damage during that time, which can be useful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I I used Edgar's noise blaster thing to confuse a couple enemies in Zozo, and one of them cast Vanish on Gao.
Mm-hmm.
And so Gao didn't take any damage because that you like keep that effect.
Right.
Oh wow.
So he didn't take any damage from anybody the whole time we were in Zozo.
Mhm. That's
pretty
what
great.
I did sort of later in the game for grinding is cast Vanish on myself, and then you can sort of solo grind because you won't take damage in certain areas if no one's using magic, and you can just level up and level up and level up.
Interesting.
Level up and level up.
I'm at the point in the
Yeah, it
game
was
where I'm
pretty great.
trying to grind a bunch before I do the end, and it's like I have played like 10 minutes at a time, like once a day for the last like 2 weeks because it's the worst.
A little chunker at a time, and you'll reach your goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, focus on the task, not the goal.
Mm-hmm. Every step
Anyways.
forward is an achievement.
So is the
Yeah.
clock a mini game? Do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that at the end then.
Yeah, so, and by the way, so are we going to talk about what you get if you get the clock time right
At the
in
end.
the minigame corner, or
Yeah.
can we talk about that
Let's talk
now?
about it now.
Okay. All right.
You
Okay,
get Freddy versus Jason. I don't know why.
Jason.
You get the
Chainsaw.
fucking
My
sweet
brain's a
ass
little broken
chainsaw.
today.
Yeah, you
It's
get
not a chainsaw.
you get Edgar's
It is a
chainsaw
circular
tool.
saw.
It's a chainsaw. He just
chainsaw.
wields it in a circular fashion.
Yeah, it's a chainsaw.
It does not look like a chainsaw to me. It looks like a saw with a circle blade at the end.
In my game, it's a saw with a saw. Like it's a chainsaw.
Saw with a saw like a chainsaw.
Yeah.
Maybe I just
It's like
maybe
long
I'm looking.
and
But
flat.
Matthew's playing the one with the shitty sprites, so who knows what it looks
Yeah,
like.
that's true. Maybe it does look crappa.
I don't know.
But yeah, you get Edgar's chainsaw, which is a pretty cool. It attacks one enemy for physical damage, and it does a ton of damage.
And sometimes it insta kills them.
Yes, it does. Yeah, it can one hit.
And well, it's not just one hit. It has the ability. It has an ability. It can sometimes insta kill, or it'll do a ton of damage, which usually kills anyway.
Oh, that's right. It's got like two forms, right?
Yeah, one
Does
of
it?
them.
Is it a multi-hit or is it a single hit?
I think
Like,
it's
does
a
it only
single
hit one person?
No, it's
okay.
yeah, it's a single hit.
Yeah, it only hits one.
Okay.
I thought it was like an area of effect thing. Like I could target an enemy in the back row and he'd spin around and hit multiple enemies, but it
Hey
didn't
guys,
work that way.
that's a great point, Jim. What? How does that row thing work? I don't understand what I'm doing in this game.
I don't either.
If you have someone in the front row, they will be hit more often and take more damage. But then if anyone in the back row will take half damage, but also do half damage. So you have to make sure like your strong people are in the front, and people in the back should have long range weapons or be casting spells or whatever, because they will not do very much damage. And it also works with the enemies. So the enemies in the back row take half damage if you still have people in the front row. But as soon as you kill everyone in the front row, enemies in the back take full damage.
That might explain
That
some
makes
of the
sense.
issues I've been having.
Mm.
Because I've just been putting everyone in the back row.
If you have
Oh,
like
that is an issue.
if everyone's in the back row, then no one's in the back row. You need at least one person per party in the front row to take full damage.
Just like there's no lower class if there's just like the middle class is the new lower class if you get rid of the lower class.
But what happens
Everybody's
if you
in
get
the
rid
back
of the
row
middle
if
class?
nobody's in the front row.
Oh,
Then you have
Well,
America.
we'll find out in a few years.
Fucking find it out right now. Find it
did
out
you
for
notice
20
the
years.
scenes of the class struggle in between Jador and Zoso? They didn't like poor pupils so much they threw them all in Zoso.
Mm-hmm.
Eek.
Zozo is a wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Does that mean there's like a nice Mos Eisley like a few miles away that was for all the rich Tatooine people?
Yeah, it's
Uh-huh.
called Jabba's
Oh.
Wonga Palace.
Yeah, Jabba's Wonga Palace.
Oh, okay.
Haven't you ever heard of Jabba's Wonga Palace?
I have heard of Jabba's Wonga Palace. It seems like a cool, hip place to go. There's great music. There's like cool animals you can watch.
Yep,
It's
there's
flying.
jizz throughout the air everywhere.
Oh yeah, so much jizz.
Oh yeah. Good God.
Lappy neck.
I am stupid tonight, guys. Oof.
Well, we're almost done, right?
My brain is operating on like 2%.
We have the most classic Final Fantasy moment of all coming up. But first, we go to Zozo. We bounce around some buildings. You have to jump from building to building and climb your way up to the top of the tallest tower. And there you will find Terra. She's having a nap.
But you gotta fight a boss who's like, I won't fight you first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or he's like, what's up, bro? He's very nice. He's like, hello, my friend.
Yeah. Well, he's like, hello, and then, like, someone in your party, like, is like, oh, let me guess. This is the time you tell us we can't pass, and we have to fight you. And he's like, actually, I was just gonna let you pass, but your idea is pretty good. So,
No,
okay.
it's that he was lying because everyone in Zozo lies.
Oh.
Everybody in Zozo is telling a falsehood.
Isn't there one person that tells the truth?
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure there
I
is.
only speak the truth. Yeah, there is, but I think maybe not till later in the game.
See,
Oh,
what
okay.
happens is the one guy in Zozo only speaks the truth, and the other people in Zozo only lie. So which
You
door
have to
will
figure
you
out.
choose?
Oh, what a lie.
So yeah, you fight this guy. He was
No,
a
I
very
want to hear more of
unmemorable
that.
fight.
Vanessa,
Yeah.
more Labyrinth jokes, please.
Oh, I can't. I'm just a worm.
This guy's just like a guy wearing a robe. You just fight him and he's dead. And
yeah,
then
he's
you
not
find
like great or nothing.
you find Terra having sleepy Betty times.
She's having a nap.
She's got the sleepies.
I
Mhm.
don't blame her. I love having a nap.
Ooh, boy, there's kind of a running Sleeping Beauty thing going on in this game.
Yeah, that's true. So there's also this old guy there.
Yeah.
As before. And he's like, oh, hi. And you're like, oh, great, another necrophile. But he's her grandpa?
He's an Esper man named Ramu.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, here's the thing with Terra. And we get her whole backstory, right, Jim?
Do we?
Don't we?
Well, you get a whole backstory about who the Espers are and
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
the War of the Magi happened, and they built a big door.
They built a big doorway and made everybody leave. And you find out that Espers can live. They're like pan-dimensional, where they can be in like two places at once, and they prefer to look like humans in the human world. And that when they die, they turn into magicite.
I don't think
Now,
they
I
can
think-
be in two places at once.
They're in both of their dimensions at the same time, right? Or no?
No,
I
they
don't
can
think so.
they can flip between the two dimensions easily.
Oh.
Now, the Rama, the reason he can blend in is because his Esper form looks like a human anyway, so he can just
Yeah.
walk around freely.
Mm-hmm. He's like, oh, I looked out.
Yeah, and so after the War of the Magi, where humans started basically killing Espers and taking their magicite to power their magic, the Espers went to their other dimension, and everything was cool until about 20 years ago when Gestalt found out that there was a way to get there, and that's when they built this iron door so humans can no longer come in.
Mm-hmm. Gestalt went Esper crazy.
Mm-hmm.
He
That guy
can't
sucks.
get enough of that Esper stuff.
So Rama's like, okay, so here's some magicites. You can use our power. Terra's gonna wake up, and you're gonna help her do something. Stop the
Mhm.
Emperor.
Yeah, help her do something.
Stop the Emperor.
It's pretty unclear. All that he says is, yeah, you need to do that, and then also I'm gonna turn into magicite for you.
No.
And also you can have all my magicite friends.
Mhm.
No.
He's like, these are my friends. They're dead. Take their corpses and make use of them.
Now,
By the way, I was
seppuku.
expecting to get a lot of the hits from like, you know, summons and things like that.
Mhm.
I'd never heard any of these names before.
Siren. Come on.
Ramu?
From what?
Rama and
Well, I heard
Siren?
Rama, but
Ifrit? Shiva?
Well, they're not there yet.
that's who I was expecting.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, you get Kate Shee
Oh, yeah.
for some reason. Ugh. hate Keiichi. And he also mentions that the reason Terra went to Zozo in the first place was because he called her there. He had like a return button, which is a whole plot line from Star Trek Next Generation. And she just like stopped at nothing to get home.
Yeah.
And she tuckered herself out, and that's why she's snoozing.
And she doesn't wake up at this point, though, right?
Nope.
Oh, how do you wake her up?
Later.
A kiss from a rose.
Oh. So you're like carrying her or something.
No,
No.
she stays there.
Oh, Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And they said they will be back, and also all your buddies show up and they're like, "Hey, we're back."
Yeah. What's up? What's up? What's up?
Yeah. And so they decide to go to the Imperial continent so that they can stop all the bad guys from invading the Magi.
Mm-hmm. But they don't know how to get there because there's no boats to the Imperial continent.
Well, surely one of these rich people would have an airship or some other means, right?
Yeah. So they go back to Jador to figure that out. And at this point, you have to have Celeste in your party because she knows about the Empire. So she's like, I'm for sure going because I know about the Empire.
Well, she like when you leave Zozo, you're required to have Locke and Celeste in your party.
Mhm.
Right?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay.
And then the rest of them are like, we'll just hang out or whatever.
I
Bye.
chose Edgar and what was it? Edgar and Cyan, because I hadn't used them for a while, so they were my new party members.
I don't remember who I brought with me.
Every fact that I've read on this game has recommended letting every character learn every Esper spell.
Yeah.
And good lord, who has time for that?
I've got a few of them that have like Edgar and Terra and maybe somebody else have learned basically every spell in the game, and a lot of the rest of them I've worked through just by changing it, like not by grinding it, just by changing it when they max something out.
Yeah. I've only got one person who's maxed out an Esper so far, so I'm going to have to wait until someone else does, and then I'll swap them out.
Swap you out.
Thank you.
So we go back to Jador and go to the mayor's house, I guess.
The auction house. Oh, no, it's the Wayne something's
Wayne
mansion.
Manor.
It was
Mhm, we get
something. That's
No,
mansion?
I put it in the whatever. I put it in the notes.
doodly-doo?
It's the impresario.
Oh,
that's his mansion?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's there.
Mm-hmm.
But the mansion, in my version, the mansion has a name, and it's something's mansion. It's got
Oh, you're right. It's like Oswell or something. isn't
yeah,
it?
something like that. And the impresario's there, and he's like, "Wow, you look just like Maria
Yeah.
Auser. It's Auser's mansion.
Auser.
Bowser's
okay.
mansion, yeah.
from Mario."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he mistakes Celeste for Maria, the prima donna of the opera.
Mm-hmm. And just so happens that he also gets a letter at this very moment
Mm-hmm.
drops it, that says that Maria is going to get totes kidnapped.
Yes.
By a man named Setzer.
Setzer.
Seltzer.
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 Setzer.
Like
Wait,
seltzer
Seltzer or
water.
Setzer?
It's
Alka-Seltzer.
Setzer. It's Setzer.
Okay. I was like, what did I... And then I got confused as to if it was Setzer water or Seltzer water.
He is very handsome, long flowing hair, a leather trench coat, and a blimp.
At least from the pixel art portraits that I have in the GVA version, he looks gross.
Yeah, he has a
Very
big
unhealthy.
scar across his face.
Uh-huh.
He's a notorious gambler.
Mm-hmm. He's not cool to women.
No, he's a kidnapper.
Yeah.
So he's not great. But they decide to go to the opera house to intercept this kidnapping and get themselves his airship.
Because he happens to have an airship.
Yep, the only airship.
Oh, well.
So they go.
Mm-hmm. And Yeah. Celeste at first is not really cool with this idea of being the star of a opera.
Yes,
but then
'cause
goes
they're
into
gonna swap her out.
she goes into the back room, the actor's room there, and just starts practicing right away. So that's good.
Mm-hmm.
And the best part is, so she goes in there and starts practicing, and Ultros is there, and he's like, "Well, I'm going to stage my own kidnapping too," and he drops another letter.
Yeah.
But everyone just
that was so stupid.
Yeah, Ultros the octopus.
They pick up his letter, and it's like, well, I'm gonna ruin your opera.
Or
what?
they don't pick it up at first.
In my version, they don't pick it up.
No, not yet. You can pick it up later.
Oh no, you pick it up later. Sorry.
okay.
He just drops the letter, and then they all go into the dressing room, and he's like, "Wait a minute, aren't you gonna read my letter?" And they're just like, "Nope." Thus begins the greatest sequence of the 16-bit JRPG era. Matt,
Mm-hmm.
you were the only one who had never played this game before.
I had never played this game
I've
before.
played this
either.
game
Oh.
so many times. I think you mean to talk to Jim.
Jim.
I mean John.
Yeah.
I think you mean to talk to John.
You were the only one who had never played this game before.
Uh-huh.
So I would like to hear your impressions of this sequence. First and most important question, did you play it with the sound on?
I did. I thought the music was actually really impressive, and I liked that they tried to get the pitch changes of the singing correct, and I thought that was really neat. I think my favorite part of the sequence was the orchestra maestro gesticulating wildly every time he was on screen. Yeah. They could have dialed that down a little bit. It was kind of distracting, but oh man, yeah, this was a really impressive sequence.
And for the era, it starts with like they really managed to get this layered sound of this like introductory like dun 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 dun, dun, and it's very sort of Mozart-ish in its drama and beginning of the opera. I liked it very much.
Yeah, and to me, like I didn't expect there to be it. I mean, it almost sounded like singing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
you can basically sing along with it. Like you can almost hear the words. That's how. I mean, it's not.
Yes.
Almost.
Yeah. And I mean, it had some trouble with consonants because it wasn't real singing, but
Right.
it was really impressive.
And a good job with the localization too, because I'm sure that the Japanese originally synced with the music, and they had to somehow make a story that fit with the English as well. So we watch a little bit of the opera. It's
Hang
about
on.
Draco.
I feel like we should be getting Final Fantasy VI Little Baby Fresh Eyes' opinion about this. John Brandon. Oh wow, John was so taken away by this scene that he cannot speak. To have witnessed the opera scene for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Now
He's hanging his head in
playing
shame over the fact that he's never played this before.
the Game Boy version with the sound patch. The sound patch for this section includes live recording of real instruments and real opera singers doing this whole thing.
Oh,
Sucks.
golly.
It would sound good if it was recorded at a good sound bit rate, but it's fit into a tiny sound file, so it sounds like
Right.
garbage.
That's
And-
terrible.
But the singing's super good. Unfortunately, it also broke on my Retron, so like one of the samples kept playing for 10 minutes. Like just a
Oh,
background thing kept looping
No.
and kind of ruined the whole thing. It
That's
was
terrible.
terrible.
Oh, John, to
Unfortunately.
experience it that way for your first time, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it was not great.
Mhm.
I would recommend not playing this game with a sound patch since it can screw up such a vital scene.
Mhm.
However, when I did play this, actually I remember my friend Travis made me watch this. I thought it sounded awful on the Super Nintendo. I was like, I hate the sound of synthesized voices and just the I just thought it was so grating on my ears.
You sound like the Affleck duck.
It sounds bad. It sounds really bad, and I liked what they were going for, but like Parasite Eve, which does the same just terrible, shitty thing.
Mhm.
They should have just not had the voices since it didn't work.
Wow.
That's my unpopular opinion. I think the opera scene kind of sucks.
The hottest
Really
take.
unpopular.
Oh wow.
Here's what I would recommend. I would recommend going back in time to 1993 or whatever and playing this game for the first time then. Because otherwise, and I'm not speaking from experience here, but otherwise I would say you had just played it for the first time for this podcast, I think you probably would be a bit underwhelmed and be like, this is neat.
Yeah.
I didn't feel. I mean, I thought it was legitimately impressive. Like, I thought it because, like, if you, I mean, take it in the context it was supposed to be given, right? Like, all this stuff is coming from a cart.
I know. And I remember my impressions of it, but I was also playing like Lunar on the Sega CD at the same time, so it was like, oh.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, that had an amazing vocal theme song that was incredible. And not...
John, I guarantee you were one of like 15 people playing this while also having a Sega CD.
You're probably right.
Anyway, we see the male protagonist of the show, and he falls in battle, so we're led to believe. And then we cut backstage to Celeste, and she takes one more look at the score. And you, as the player, are required to memorize her lines.
I just wrote it down.
So did I.
No, I just remembered them. So then you go onto the stage, and it prompts you with like 3 different choices, which I don't remember seeing something like that in an RPG before this game. It's sort of a very early attempt at a dialogue tree.
What happens if you get them wrong? If she screws up the lyrics?
You get to start over again. And they like
there's
kick
a
you out.
record scratch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
they're like, come back tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Maria's
Ugh.
sick or something.
I assume if you do that too many times, you just game over.
I don't know.
Because it tells you you've got like 1 more try or like 3 more tries.
I'll give you 3 more chances.
Because I fucked this up a couple of times and it was entirely because of the garbage iOS controls. Oops.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you do
because
not have
you-
very
1
much
step
time.
up instead of 1 step left. Well, that's what I was trying to do, but
Yeah, you have to do some of the
You know, I've
staging.
been doing a thing where if I know the game is going to show me something I have to remember, I've been recording it on my phone and then playing it back as I'm playing the game. Like, you know, there was that sequence last episode where we had to follow the route around the rocks in the right way.
Right, yeah.
I used my phone to make a recording of the light moving around the rocks and then played it back as I was playing the
Smart.
game so that I knew which route to go.
Yeah,
Genius.
sick hack. So you do
Sick
your
hack.
lines, then you have to do some stage directions, and then probably the most difficult part, I think, is you have to do a little waltz with another character. And just keep up with him or mimic his movements enough that it looks convincing. Then things start to go awry.
This is where it gets awesome. This is
It
where,
gets
for me, this is
amazing.
the highlight of the opera scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us about it, Jim.
No, you tell us about it. I like your enthusiasm.
Okay.
Yeah, come on.
Then we cut to Ultros, who is going to ruin the show as promised. And he's up in the scaffolding where the lighting is for the stage. And he has a 5-ton weight next to him. And his intention... Now, maybe I should pause to just consider how this large octopus managed to get up into the scaffolding of the opera house in the first place.
he's the prince of
see-
octopi.
How did he manage to write a letter?
I guess he just suctioned his way on up there. And he starts pushing on this weight, and then he says, "Oh, this is so heavy. It's going to take me 5 minutes to drop it onto the stage." And then you cut to whoever is in the audience, and they somehow see him, which makes me think that their proscenium is very strange if they can, from the balcony, see the scaffolding well enough to notice an octopus up there that should be masked, but I guess whatever, their set design sucks. So they see Ultros and they're like, oh, we have to stop him, and spring to their feet, and then the 5-minute counter appears, and you have 5 minutes to get to him before he drops the weight onto the stage and ruins the performance. So you
Keep going.
you run to stage right, and you go and talk to the person up there, and they're like, oh, there's 3 switches. You have to hit this switch, and then it will open the door on the other side of the stage. If you hit the wrong switch, there's a possibility that you will fall through a trapdoor onto the stage, thus ruining the performance. So instead, you hit the right ones. You run to stage left in the balcony area. Don't go downstairs. You'll waste time. Then you have to make your way across the scaffolding. There are some rats running along it, which can turn into enemy encounters if you aren't careful.
Now this was in Chrono Trigger when we were up on the scaffolding.
Yes.
In the future place.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But there we had to chase a rat. Here we're trying to avoid it.
Right, that's true.
So you make your way to Ultros, and he slips, I guess, and wraps his tentacle arms around you, and you all fall to the stage.
I got there with like 10 seconds left or
Yeah,
something.
me too. It was a very
Yeah,
tight
you cut it
timing.
close.
Those rats get real annoying and bring in reinforcements, which is just not fair.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Where does a rat get reinforcements anyway? Come on. I've never fought a rat and had like other rats appear and be like, oh, no, you don't. They don't care.
Mm-hmm. I assume a rat king.
Oh, yeah, the rat king.
There's a Willard.
Mm-hmm.
So the music comes to a screeching halt, and they all get very embarrassed and self-conscious all of a sudden that they're on the stage, and they just start ad-libbing as if they are a part of the play.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where Ultros declares himself to be the Prince of Octopus, and he is going to take Maria as his bride, I believe he says. Maybe I'm making that part up.
Nope. And then Locke is like, I will save her.
Yeah, he's like, I'm the great treasure hunter. And Ultros is like, you can't defeat me. So then they have a battle. It's the 3 members of your party you brought with you. Celeste does not join in, I assume because it would break her cover of being Maria.
Mm-hmm.
And you fight Ultros. It's much the same as the first Ultros fight, yeah?
A little harder.
Yeah, it's a little harder. He can still do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
But you battle him successfully, and just as you were about to proclaim victory, that's when Setzer drops in. And he's like, I'm taking Maria to be my wife, and absconds with her. And then the impresario comes on stage and he's like, oh my goodness, what an exciting cliffhanger. Who will save Maria? What's going to happen? Come back next week to find out. And the curtain falls on the greatest opera performance of all time.
It's true. Look at Jim's face. Look at Jim's face.
Gun. Oh, God.
Oh,
Jim.
he's brought his gun out again.
And the pea shooter, for fuck's sake, Jim.
One thing I thought was interesting, the recorded version of the opera that plays in the sound hack version is in Italian?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why that is.
Should be, right?
Not all operas are Italian, yo.
But
Yeah, there's German operas,
There's
that's
even
what I say,
English
though.
operas.
French, La Boheme, Russian operas, plenty of Russian operas,
Oh, yeah.
Norwegian operas,
Mm-hmm.
English operas.
Mm-hmm.
Rock operas,
Yep.
American Idiot.
Yep. Ugh.
He sure plays a mean pinball.
And is that
So,
it? Did we do it?
Almost.
Dude.
Just one little chunker left. Teeniest chunker.
The tiniest.
Because you get onto the plane.
Is this where we trick Setzer into taking us to the Imperial place?
Yes. Yes.
With a little two-sided coin.
He leaves. He brings her up to his airship and flies out, and leaves her alone immediately, which seems like a bad idea.
Yeah, he's just like, "What's up? You're my wife now. Bye."
Yeah, I'll be back soon, baby. I'm just gonna freshen up. And then immediately the rest of your party members jump in from a hole in the cargo hold, I guess.
Well, I think she drops a rope down to them, right?
Oh, okay. Okay.
So then they climb up.
They all jump on in.
And they're like, "Hey, take us to the Empire." And he's like, "No way, baby."
And he comes back and says, "You're not Maria."
But it's okay.
Yeah, I'll still marry you, baby.
Yeah, he's still into it. Because he only loved her for her looks.
And he also
Celeste
says you
looks
might
the same.
actually be hot. No, he says she might actually be hotter than
Well, she's
Maria.
probably like more built because she's a warrior, so.
Yeah. Is she a warrior princess?
No, she's not a princess. She's a general.
Okay.
So they make a bet with him because he's a notorious gambler. And is it Locke who produces the coin?
No, I think it's Celeste that does.
Oh.
I think, maybe she asked for it from Locke. So she says, heads, you take us to the Imperial City. Tails, I will marry you.
And he's like, good deal.
Love to gamble. Sounds like a great plan. I see no problems.
Nope. So she flips the coin, and it lands on heads. And then he, I guess, picks up the coin, and he's like, "Wait a minute, this is a two-sided coin." But then he's like, "Ha ha ha, I've never felt more alive. I'll take you to the Empire." Now.
She tricked him.
She did. And let me just say, I don't recall whether this was explicit in the game or not, but it is my impression that that two-headed coin is the same coin that Edgar flipped when he was making the deal with Sabin.
Ooh.
But Edgar chose heads and decided to become king and let his brother have his freedom.
Oh, is this a fan theory?
That's my fan theory and or canon. I don't remember which one.
Very cool. I like this fan
So
theory.
is that like a potential spoiler alert?
No, because that scene already happened, didn't it? Like if you have Sabin,
You don't
and
know
Edgar.
about the potential of it being a two-sided coin, though, do
Let
you?
me
I
see.
know you
know
do.
at this point.
Yeah,
Seltzer
he says.
figures it out.
Yeah, he looks at it and
But how do you know it's the same coin?
Let me
She's-
see. I just looked it up, and
It's a
it's
fan
called.
theory.
It says here Edgar's coin is a two-headed coin owned by Edgar. So I must have gotten it from somewhere.
okay. Or you're just very smart and come up with amazing. Okay. Well, that's cool. That's really cute, actually. That's good writing.
Oh, it says if Edgar is in the party during the sequence, Celeste steps aside for a moment and borrows the coin from him. If Sabin is also in the party, he realizes what Edgar did in the past with it.
Oh.
So maybe that's what happened to me.
Okay.
Oh,
So it got spelled
yeah.
out.
I do remember that. I remember that. You get a little flashback, don't you?
Yeah. So I like it a lot. I think that it gives you more insight into Edgar as a character and makes him a lot more likable, that he made this sacrifice for his brother.
It's just really
It
good
does.
game
Good for
design,
him.
too. Like, just in terms of the narrative complexity, I think that's really cool.
It is super cool.
Yeah. So we've tricked Seltzer, but he's up for helping us out anyway.
Setzer.
And you get a really cool looking for 1994 cutscene of flying towards the Imperial continent with these like searchlights, and it's all black and looks really dark and ominous.
That's pretty neat. Pretty neat.
And
I am on board.
we'll have to wait to find out what happens on the Imperial content next time.
Content?
Continent.
Oh,
What
okay.
content awaits us on the Imperial continent next time on Square Root?
Oh, before we go,
Mm.
come to my little corner. Let me part these drapes that I have separating this from the rest of the Square Root's office, because this is my bullshit minigame corner. You'll notice on one side, I have this minigame, and this minigame is the clock puzzle.
Yeah.
Remember that clock puzzle from Zoso?
Mm-hmm.
And how everyone lies in this town?
Mm-hmm.
You can talk to people and they'll tell you all sorts of things, like what time it is, and they're always lying. So if you write down all the times they say, you can I think you can get within like 1 or 2 guesses of what the correct time is.
Yeah. And, because they'll tell you, like, it's not, it's 2 o'clock. It's...
No, they say it is 2 o'clock.
Oh, right. It's 2 o'clock.
And there's one clock that is right, and the minute hand is stuck. And so you know the minutes if you because the guy says it's never right, so
Right.
that means it is right.
Mm-hmm.
Although I was like, well, if he says it's the minute hand, does that mean it's not the minute hand? But they don't get that tricky. It is the minute hand.
Oh, I think
and
he
it is
actually
correct.
says the second hand. So you have to decide,
Oh.
does he mean second in order or second as in seconds?
But that one is correct, and it's pointed to 2.
Mm-hmm.
So that means it's 6:10 and like 50 seconds, I think is the correct answer.
50 seconds. Yeah, it's 50.
And so you have to talk to a bunch of people. There's a bunch of people walking in line. Is there there's a guy who yells at you to get in line. Can you get in line properly? Is that a mini game?
I don't think so. I kind of tried, but it didn't
I
work.
tried a few times with nothing. I didn't get anything special from that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's basically the one big mini game. And you can talk about avoiding the rats and the scaffolding as a mini game because there's some timing to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of annoying. You can miss like maybe one fight and save some time. And then there's the mini game of the strategic combat in Narche, which is something we've done before with the Mughals, and I really like that. And I think it's such a great design to be able to play all the characters before you choose your party.
Mm-hmm.
So,
mm-hmm.
yeah, and that's it for the mini game corner.
Good minigame corner, John.
Thank you. Nice and tight.
Guys, where are we playing to for next week?
Ooh, I know the answer. Hold up. Hang on to your horses. This is going to be exciting.
I'm hanging on to my horse.
I propose we play to the opening of the Esper Gate.
Ooh.
Okay. All right, everyone. Well, that's it for this episode of Square Roots. Next episode, we will be playing through the arrival at the Esper Gate.
So if you have, you know, the drill that you use, that Edgar uses,
Mm-hmm.
if you give that to one of the summons, would that become an espadrille? Crickets.
I don't understand
Crickets.
that joke.
Never mind.
What's an espadrille?
I think it's a shoe.
Is that something?
Oh, okay.
I regret everything that we've done in the past 2+ years.
I love you all.
Oh, jeez. You know, hey, guys, we have a letter to read this week.
Oh, snap.
Oh,
Oh, snap.
right.
I love a letter.
And there's a
We
level up. I got to do that real
Did we
fast.
do bullshit minigame?
Who wants to
corner
read
and
the
Square
letter?
Against
Oh,
already?
wait. Hold on. This letter is the level up.
Should probably do squarely against.
Oh, yeah. All right, guys. Before we sign off, let's talk about what we're squarely against this episode. I want to hear from Matt first. Matthew, what the fuck are you squarely against?
What about you, Jim?
I am roundly for Gao. You guys were kind of shitting all over Gal
Hey,
last
he's a piece
episode,
of
and
shit.
I think he's a really valuable
You're
party member. So,
Fucking stupid.
in your
I hate
faces.
your
I
mouth.
was saying how great he is and how awesome his abilities are. And how
Well, you're right. So, good for you.
I will do my squarely against.
All right.
Do it.
I am roundly for Ultros. He's fantastic and makes this game crazy memorable. And I think that the opera scene's really cool. I just didn't like that one sample. So don't think that I've pooped all over your childhood memories. I think this is pretty fun. It's as good. I think the stuff people say about Chrono Trigger equally applies to Final Fantasy VI, and I think Final Fantasy VI, in my opinion, is a more fun game. It's more my kind of game. But it does have special moments like this that are really interesting and really hold up well. Even if guys I talk to on Growler poop all over it. So there you go. I'm squarely against guys I've chat to on Growler who randomly hate Final Fantasy VI for some reason.
They're just trying to be hip.
It's just me.
so.
I'm catfishing you, John. I'm everyone on
Oh.
Growler.
Why would you pretend to be in Reno?
Because 911. Duh.
Oh, okay. Makes sense. That guy's really cute, though. Where'd you find his pictures? I
Google.
have so many questions.
Jesus, it's not that hard. Google dudes bears would like, and boom, the internet is. Do you know how many of those pictures are from pornography that I have like cut around so that you can't tell that they're from pornography?
Oh, it sure doesn't look like it's from pornography, but so good job.
I'm a good photoshopper.
Vanessa, what are
Yeah.
you roundly for or squarely against?
Oh, my hero, far away now. Will I ever see your face? I know come what may, tonight and today. I'll wait for you, my love.
Everyone has unsubscribed and just shot their Patreon.
Jim's got
Guys, I've unsubscribed to this
got
podcast.
2 guns and his pea shooter out, and he's just pointing them all at the screen in what is the most awkward pose I've ever seen.
Yeah. Roundly for the opera scene, roundly for Ultros, roundly for all of it. Love it. Can't get enough of it. Make a special save so you can play it over and over again.
Maybe, Vanessa, if you had a Sega CD back in the day, you would also know that this is garbage.
Well, I was poor AF, so I didn't. Not all of us can grow up in Canada, the land of gold and croissants.
I know. Fuck you, John. I didn't even have a Super Nintendo.
Poutine. Jim, what are you squarely against?
I already said.
Okay, then I don't care. Let's move on.
Moving on up.
All right, everyone. John, I think you have a level up to read.
I do.
No, man. Jim, why are you so all over the place? Letter time, Jim. Letter
Yeah,
time.
letter time. I'm going to
Letter
read a
time.
letter.
Jim, read the letter.
Okay, I'll read this one. This one opens, hello, gang. This podcast has refreshed my love for RPGs. I haven't been playing along some of the games, but I did listen to the recorded episodes of Final Fantasy XII while I was playing it for the first time, and now I'll be playing through Final Fantasy VI. Although fantasy stories can be great and all, some games have some cringeworthy moments. What are some of your most hated tropes that an RPG has thrown into the story? Or what is the most cringeworthy moment you experienced in a game? Much love, Gabriel. What do you guys think? John, what is your what's one of your most hated tropes, or your in your opinion the most cringeworthy moment you've experienced in a game?
Anything about how hot underage kids are? Maybe that's not a good one. You know, that's too.
That's pretty
Yeah, that's the
cringeworthy.
best
gross.
one. That's kind of the only one. I mean, it's not the only one, but it's the big one.
It comes up a lot in these games, like Grandia, that guy who was perving on Sue. And,
Oh.
Ooh, yeah.
that was gross. And there's like, I can totally see why a localization would take that out, but then there's people who get really mad at localizations for changing any content to better suit
Hey.
the culture. But
Hey, Sue, You're gonna be so hot.
Yeah.
You're gonna be so hot when you're older, Sue.
I have to say, for me, it is a pretty big red flag if someone is upset that someone has taken out objectifying underage characters. And their defense of it is like, well, that's how it is in Japan. It's like, well, that's not okay. Like, it should not be that way. So maybe take it out.
Anyway, let's go on to a more fun one. What's your most cringiest thing, Vanessa?
Oh, I guess my most cringiest thing would be any kind of like damsel in distress trope. They did it in Grandia a little bit when you have Fina, who is a very competent and capable character, but then needs to be saved. I don't like it when you take your like women warriors and have them being like forced wedded to someone until you go save them.
There's a lot of forced weddings in
There
JRPGs.
is a lot of forced weddings. Yeah, I guess forced weddings is my least favorite. There was Yuna being forced wed to Seymour. There was Fina being forced wed to whoever that guy was. There was Princess Peach being forced wed to the dude with the tower.
Booster.
Yeah.
Giant mouth
Remember
man.
in Final Fantasy VII when the female characters almost got forced into having sex with that guy in Midgar?
Well, but also Cloud does have sex with a bunch of guys if you go to the right room in the Honeybee Inn.
That's true.
Nice.
I need to replay that game.
We will.
Yeah. So I think the forced wedding is my least favorite trope because it's just sort of a nice way of approaching rape.
Oof. We are bumming out this podcast.
I'm sorry,
I have a very
I don't think
specific one.
This is what Gabe wanted.
I have a very specific one.
What's yours, Matthew?
Persona 5, Mona or Morgana. I can never remember which one is the cat's name.
They call her both.
Which one is her, like, superhero name. But regardless, particularly towards the beginning of the game when you have to have her in your party, she will often say, "Looking cool, Joker." And it was so cringy to me that this character would, like, every 5 seconds tell me how cool I was that I literally kicked her out of the party as soon as possible and was the happiest person ever when that character stopped being the guide. I don't want to say more than that for fear of spoilers.
Oh yeah, the helper person.
Because and it's entirely that one line. Looking cool, Joker. Oh boy. What about you, Jim?
I think my cringiest thing in RPGs is the like dour sad boy thing that happened in the 90s, the late 90s, with like Cloud and Squall, where it's just like we're gonna be dour, cool, sad boys and treat everybody like shit.
Yes.
That's the worst.
Right on.
That's a
hate
great trope to
I
choose.
feel like a lot of my personality was informed by that.
Yeah, I feel like that about you too, Matt.
Okay,
Makes
fuck
a lot of
yourself.
sense. Ouch.
I have an email to read as well.
Oh boy.
Ooh, read it.
Dearest Square Roots, I hope you find yourselves well. I was listening to your latest discussion on the 6th Final Fantasy and was amused. However, it was your exploration of Moogles that set my heart aflame, and it was my love of Moogles that set my cigarettes aflame. For you see, when I was young and smoked, I was the proud owner of a Final Fantasy cigarette lighter. It was
Nice.
not Zippo branded, however, it was of the style. Etched on this fine lighter was the image of a Moogle. Needless to say, this contraption was my pride and or joy. However, I have since lost it because I am irredeemably absent-minded. So I am inspired to write to you and have you read my words aloud. You have caused me an unfathomable amount of pain, and rather than take responsibility for my own mistakes, I have chosen to blame you for all my anger and hatred. Shame on you, Jim. Shame on you, Vanessa. Shame on you, John. Shame on you, loud guy. Shame. Your pal, Stan.
I have your lighter, and you're never getting it back.
And that just makes me want to have a cigarette again. It's been years, so let's move on.
John, you have a level up to do.
I do. So, well, we're all over the place. That comes at the end.
I read my email.
All right. Level up. Congratulations to Samu Mitchell because you leveled up.
Yeah.
Da 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 da. Okay, do that in the background while I'm doing this. Samu, you have leveled up. You've gained +5 to whale saving. You've gained the ability whale identification. Finally, whale. And that's it. Samu has leveled up. We're done. Let's do our outro. Come on. We're so close to our outro.
What about the patrons?
Oh, God. All right. Can I do the patrons?
Please do.
Yes.
All right. Julian Titus, David Pascal, Nathan Poirot, Randy Pierce, Benzina Benzoni, Minigame Sullivan, Jonathan Ellsworth, Sam Harrison, Delvin Sloan, Danny Lucas, Coda Shurin, James Plett, Greg Bailey, Race Jenkins, Joseph A. Rogers, Rob Schubert, Stu Skeel, Xavier Krieger, David Shook, Matthew Jorgensen, Kevin Mosser,
Kiva,
Samu Mitchell,
fuck you,
Cowman.
That's fine.
Cowman
Andrew
Mosser.
Wayant, Brian Stone, Aaron Bachman, Robert M. Pullen, Stan, Tracy Tanoff, Josh Anderson, Robert T. Ross Hartley, Tyler Petty, Brody Toy, Justin Ham, Bree Girth, Meredith Anderson, Brian Pitt, Ward Childress, Patrick Coover, Patrick W. Bears, W stands for Woves, Wonder Swan, Miguel Torres, Rusty Kamada, Tom, Lynn Setchell, Justin Benoit, Vanessa's mom, Cameron Show, Jonathan
Joey.
Ellsworth, and Cyril the Wolf. Thanks, everybody. Please don't pull your support for all the singing. We promise next episode we won't sing anywhere near as much.
I make no promises.
We don't promise no singing because it's the thinging that keeps us full of love.
It's
No.
true. All right, real outro time now.
All right, everybody. That is it for this episode of Square Roots. Like we said, we are playing to the arrival of the Esper Door for next episode. But before we go, let's remind everyone that you can reach us by email at squarerootspodcast@gmail.com. Come see us at our Facebook group, the Square Roots Podcast Group for smart, cool, very attractive people. Or you can tweet at us. We are at Square Roots Pod. Our intro music for this series is The One-Ups, cover of Terra's theme. That's The One-Ups, O-N-E, no space, U-P'-S. Check out their work at theoneups.com. Our outro music is a jazz cover of Shadow's theme by Lord Biff Music. Check out Lord Biff's Patreon and YouTube as Lord Biff Music. Links to both artists in the show notes.
Please rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you screenshot a review and post it on the Facebook group or Twitter, I'll tell you how you leveled up.
Why did John send us a link to shoes?
Espadrilles!
All right, everybody, that's it for this week's episode of Square Roots. I am Jim Banks.
I'm Matthew Van Zant.
I'm John Brandon.
And I'm Vanessa.
Bye. Bye, 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 bye. Bye, bye, bye. Bye, 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 bye. Bye, bye. Bye, bye, bye. Bye, 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 bye.
Bye, 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 bye.
I low-key burped through my entire saying of my name. Hopefully it won't show up on the track.